We come now to a small chapter that is a vital one. It's chapter 11, Harmonizing Ways of Working. And a worthwhile goal of civic technology is to mutually infuse an understanding of technology and government goals, and to establish methods of working collaboratively towards those shared aims. So there's all of these political maneuvers, I could say, and we all will probably find ourselves aligning with that which makes sense in the organization or agency. But it's very difficult often to remain self-aware throughout the process. It requires you to be thinking about what this all means as it's happening, to be mindful. Sid writes here, people in government often work in the same organization and with the same colleagues for a decade or more, sometimes multiple decades. And interpersonal conflict can unfortunately play out over the very long term. And while you're trying to bring up a new technology into fruition, these kinds of employee-to-employee relationships become important. Additionally, separating the tech literate from the non-tech literate, if there is such a thing as doing that today, given most people are on digital platforms that are in government, is that you're trying to develop a shared understanding of the phenomenon you're investigating. This may take time to actually create a fluency and translate terms between people so that misunderstandings and minor disagreements are not common phenomenon. It's a very interesting thing, particularly as things are increasingly recorded on platforms like Slack or some other form of communication, where video conferencing, where connotations and words can carry huge meanings and also create headaches for various people, depending on how they're interpreted. So it depends who you're collaborating with, but what really you should be thinking about are techniques of professional inclusion. And so it's likely you'll need to exercise your powers of influence in an unfamiliar or uncomfortable productivity technology landscape. And if you've made a career on adapting to different tech stacks and environments, it's so very worth deploying the adaptability to meet your partners. Okay, so you've got to be cognizant that if people are using a particular technology, whether you'll fight the system or actually say, you know, we can only use this in this government agency. For instance, it could be a security institute. But whatever you do, consensus build so that you're communicating on the one technological platform, but also with the right words to describe different things. Sid says here, here are just a few of the ways she's deployed techniques in her time in civic tech. She says holding office hours for people who need to make decisions, specifically design decisions, bringing in speakers for lunch and learns about technology topics, joining governance and advisory boards for projects, starting clubs for learning, new techniques like web writing and CSS, those scripts, sending weekly email newsletters to a broad set of project stakeholders, teaching partners who are new to GitHub to contribute, even just text on the website and submit pull requests, and inviting partners along on user research sessions so they're becoming more and more aware and listening to the people who are expressing their requirements one-to-one. She says one of the biggest things to be mindful of is whether you're helping your partners gain the skills to work in a flexible and collaborative way, or instead installing yet another rigid process just for the sake of it. And we've all possibly been in that situation where we think we're doing good, but in fact, we're introducing another layer of complexity. But how to do those things and streamline is very much about listening to others and that deliberative nature in order to introduce the right approach and the right kind of means of communication, because in the end, that's what it is, working in an environment and communicating effectively.